inaugural ceremony of induction program of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth for its two constituent institutes, that is Global Business School Research Center and DPU Center for Online Learning. Before we start this academic endeavor, let's seek the blessings from Goddess of Knowledge, Ma Saraswati. For this, I invite Dr. Priyanka Bachav, Faculty, Global Business School and Research Center, to lead us into prayer. Over to you, Bacha ma'am.
या कुंडेलु तुषार हार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणा वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकरा प्रभृतिभिः दैवै सदा वन्दिता सा मा पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेषसाढ्यापहा.
Thank you, Dr. Priyanka, for that melodious start. Let me acknowledge the splendid presence of our distinguished guests for today who would be joining us shortly. Chief Guest, Honorable Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who would be joining us shortly. Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Mrs. Bhagyashree Patil, Madam. Honorable Chancellor, DPU, Dr. P.D. Patil, Sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor DPU, Dr. N.J. Pawar, Sir. Honorable Trustee and Executive Director, Dr. Smita Jadhav, Madam. Honorable Secretary, Dr. Somnath Patil, Sir. Honorable Treasurer, Dr. Yashraj Patil, Sir. Director GBSRC, Dr. Chetan Chaudhary, Sir. Director Center for Online Learning, Dr. Safia Farooqui, Madam. All the Dean Directors of various institutes, faculty members, students, corporate guests, a warm welcome to each one of you. Malcolm Forbes once said, education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an open one. One should not cease learning because that's what determines our growth. And today, Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth is about to embark upon this journey of learning and growth with the incoming MBA batch of 2021-23 of its constituent institutes, that is Global Business School and Research Center and DPU Center for Online Learning. To talk about our student induction program, it's a sprint that students take to understand in a deep way important aspects of the institute along with the mission of educating leaders for business. The institute takes every effort to turn on the afterburners to keep new students energized, engaged, and amused. Integrating and weaving many activities such as team building assignments, intense projects, case studies, expert panels, talent shows, gear up mentally all the students. Plus, the requisite sprinkling of teaching, time management, group work, dealing with others, so on and forth, undoubtedly go a long way to strengthen the personality of students. Although fun is in the air throughout, they all have a serious set of purposes, so much so that there are not enough hours in a day to take advantage of everything the institute has to offer. The whole institution, the whole intention behind is to help a disparate group of people bond quickly and learn the cultural quirks of the place, which the students now call home. Rendering an intensive curriculum to broaden students' minds, world-class professors to challenge the preconceived thinking, and embedding students in a global network of aspiring professionals. The result is that when these students move beyond induction and get into the classroom, they have a framework or a context for how to start applying learned skills to their meaningful aspirations. And the induction process is set to be complete when students come to the first day of their class ready and all set to learn. Now, I would like to invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor DPU, Dr. N.J. Pawar, sir, for the opening remark. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, all of you. At the outset, let me take the opportunity of welcoming you all for this particular MBA induction program organized jointly by Global Business School and Research Center as well as DPU Center for Online Learning of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth, Pune. I'm indeed very happy and delighted to know that we have with us today our chief guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, a veteran parliamentarian, well-known public speaker, renowned orator, a person who made an impact on Indian and global politics, as well as social spheres, a staunch Indian, one who courageously and boldly put forward Indian views in the British Parliament. We have none other than Dr. Shashi Tharoor with us to inaugurate this particular induction program as a chief guest. Sir, at the outset, let me take the opportunity of welcoming you for this particular function on behalf of Honorable Chancellor Dr. P.D. Patil, sir, Honorable Pro-Chancellor Dr. Bhagyashree Patil, madam, and all the faculty members, students, and the administrative staff of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth. Friends, we also have with us the Honorable Chancellor of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth, an architect of DPU, whose dreams have no boundaries about establishing new institutions and also the quality of education in institutions under whose leadership and guidance Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth is marching ahead in the field of education in general and health science education in particular. Dr. P.D. Patil, sir, is with us. Let me extend warm welcome to Honorable Chancellor Dr. P.D. Patil, sir. Let me also take the opportunity of welcoming our Pro-Chancellor, Madam, Dr. Bhagyashree Patil, Madam. Madam is very efficiently managing two different institutions. She is a well-known businesswoman in the area of farming sector, where thousands of women have been employed through her business venture, that is Rise and Shine Limited. She has been giving very strong support to Honorable Chancellor Dr. P.D. Patil, sir, in terms of realizing his dream of establishing the newer and newer institutions in the area of higher education and in particular the health education. So both of them have been with us. I extend warm welcome to them. For the benefit of all our students and our honorable chief guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor ji, let me take the opportunity of informing all of them that Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth was established in 2003 under the UGC Act of 1956. Ever since, with its modest beginning of establishment of one medical college, now the institution has grown with 8 different faculties under its fold. Today, we have this university recognized as multi-faculty university in the area of health sciences, wherein we have dental, medical, Ayurveda, homeopath, nursing, physiotherapy, as well as optometry and visual sciences. Apart from these, we have 2 different institutions, biotechnology institution and also the Global Business School and Research Center. With all these 9 different institutions, DPU is marching ahead in the area of education, particularly higher education. We have a competent faculty of more than 642, which is 15 to 20% more than what is required by the statutory bodies. So that is the vision and reflection of the vision of our Honorable Chancellor and Pro-Chancellor, Madam. This particular university has been recognized by National Accreditation Council consecutively for 2 accreditation cycles. One in 2014-15, where we got A grade, and also we got the highest CGPA of 3.62. DPU is also competing at national as well as global level with all the universities in the area of higher education. National Institutional Ranking Framework started by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, the then ministry, and currently now the Ministry of Education, Government of India. We have been participating in the NIRF ranking every year. And consecutively, we have been placed in the top 50 universities across India amongst 1,200 plus odd universities in India. We also have been placed in different categories. For example, we are in the top 20 medical colleges in India. We are also in the dental college. We are at the rank number 3 all over India. These are the achievements of the university at the global as well as national level. And therefore, I would like to bring to the notice of all our guests as well as students, those who are participating in the today's induction program, that DPU has state-of-the-art infrastructure in all its institutions. In the medical college, we have 2,000 plus bedded hospital, which is having 18 modular OTs. We also have state-of-the-art facilities such as organ transplant facility, cornea transplant. Then we have liver transplant. We also have kidney transplant facility in the medical college. Medical college also has state-of-the-art facilities required for diagnostic purposes. We have established Central Research Laboratory in the medical college premises. This molecular diagnostic laboratory is serving the society and providing the services to the society in terms of testing for the COVID-19 pandemic patients. And therefore, thousands of patients have been tested and provided service to them. Over the last 1.5 years, this hospital is serving the needs of the society by providing one of the best facilities for the COVID patients. And therefore, at a time, more than 900 plus patients have been admitted in this particular hospital during the peak times. And that is something which is a contribution of this particular institution to the social sector. There are many other institutions, those who have also come forward within the university. For example, the College of Ayurveda also has come forward in establishing a COVID center. And we are serving the needs of the society by providing more and more number of opportunities to the patients who are suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me also inform you that Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College Hospital and Research Center, as well as Ayurvedic College Hospital and Research Center, they have been providing services to also the society in terms of offering vaccination. And therefore, thousands of people across the society have taken the benefit of this particular facility. And therefore, we are continuing to serve society in these sectors, apart from many other achievements of the university. Let me inform you that the students of the university are spread across the globe, and they are our brand ambassadors. It is because of these students that DPU has created brand name across the globe and within the nation. For example, within the 6,500 odd universities in the overall category in the NIRF ranking, the university is placed at a position number 75. which is among 6,000 plus institutions across India, which include the IITs, ISERs, NITs, the other central universities, state universities, and all other private and deemed to be universities. So that's the achievement of the university in the overall ranking as well as a ranking in particular sectors. Friends, let me also inform you that over the last many years, the DPU has been taking care of providing opportunity to the students to have exposure to institutions abroad. For example, we have very successful program with the Medical School of Johns Hopkins University, USA, wherein we have been sending our students and also we have been receiving students from the US. They get an exposure to have international culture, international experience in the area of medical education. We are trying also our level best to provide opportunities across all other institutions that the students should get exposure to the different areas wherein they can enhance their skills, improve their knowledge, and also learn to have this particular experience gain for the exposure to their public life. I must inform you all that we have very successful program apart from the Johns Hopkins. There is a successful program with the Skövde University from the Sweden. Our Biotechnology Institute has very successful program with the Skövde University of Sweden, wherein our students spend 1 year, that is 2 semesters, for doing the master's project. That is second year, they will go and have the experience of doing research in the Swedish university. And also students from the Skövde University, Sweden, they will come and spend 1 semester with DPU in the Biotechnology Institute. Our teachers also undergo exchange program with this university under Linus Palme scheme. And that is one of the most successful programs. Similarly, in the area of communicable diseases, we have a large-scale projects with Johns Hopkins School of Medical Education, and this is also very highly successful program in the area of research. And therefore, in the area of research also, DPU marching ahead. And therefore, if you see over the last 16 years, our H index has gone nearly to 50, which is a very big achievement by a newborn institution. In 15, 16 years of time, H index of this particular university has gone up to 50. There are a lot of publications of our faculty members which appear in leading journals, particularly in the area of health sciences and sciences. One of the important contributions that are made by our faculty members are the publications in Lancet, which is a leading journal in the area of medical education. Large number of publications in these particular journals with a high impact factor indicate the quality of research that is conducted by the faculty in Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth. Friends, let me also inform you that there are a lot of collaborations of the Dr. D.Y. Patil Global School of Management and Research Center. Let me inform you that we have one of the most successful programs with the industries. We have signed MOU with Bosch India Limited. We have signed with MOUs with Tata Technologies Limited. We are trying to provide all the skill-related programs, certification programs to the students of management school. And therefore, I'm sure that you, as a student of management school, will have an opportunity of learning the management not only within the institution, but you will have exposure to have the learning input from other institutions and industries. And therefore, this will certainly help you carve your path in the profession that you would like to choose after 2 years of passing out with an MBA degree. Friends, you have very wonderful environment, very good environment in DPU when you will join. And you will also realize that this is an environment which is comfortable for you. We will take care of you. We have all the good teaching learning facilities, all the supporting facilities, right from hostels to our computer labs, to our language labs. Every aspect of your personality development, your communication skills development is taken care of by the management institute. And therefore, you have come to the institution where your dreams will come true in the years to come. And therefore, once again, I will take this opportunity of welcoming all the students, those who are joining our management school, and I wish them all the success for their future endeavors. Once again, let me also take the opportunity of welcoming our chief guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor ji, for giving us the time, and we are eager to hear him. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you very much, one and all.
Thank you, sir, to set forth an excellent start and informing us the important milestones achieved by Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth. Ladies and gentlemen, the most awaited moment has arrived when we have been joined with the most inspiring and powerful leader of our country, none other than the Honorable Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha, Dr. Shashi Tharoor ji, along with other distinguished members, Honorable Pro-Chancellor Dr. Mrs. Bhagyashree Patil Madam, Honorable Chancellor DPU Dr. P.D. Patil Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor DPU Dr. N.J. Pawar Sir, Honorable Trustee and Executive Director Dr. Smita Jadhav Madam, Honorable Secretary Dr. Somnath Patil Sir, Honorable Treasurer Dr. Yashraj Patil Sir, Director GBSRC Dr. Chetan Chaudhary Sir, DPU Center for Online Learning Director Dr. Safia Farooqi Madam, a warm welcome to each one of you. Moving ahead, I would like to introduce the Honorable Chancellor of DPU, Dr. P.D. Patil Sir. Dr. P.D. Patil Sir is the architect behind the success of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth and Dr. D.Y. Patil Unitech Society, Pune. A man of ideals and goals, his mission has always been to spread literacy and make healthcare accessible for everyone. The educational par excellence always believes that hard work pays. A steady and focused approach to his objective culminated in the establishment of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth and Dr. D.Y. Patil Unitech Society, Pune. Having more than 30 institutions, all these institutes have garnered awards and recognition in the national and international arena. He has left no stone unturned to make his vision and mission success, be it academics, his students, or staff. His contribution to every segment is commendable. Dr. P.D. Patil Sir has worked extensively and undertaken various activities in the fields of education, social, cultural welfare of mankind and environment, village development programs, religious harmony, healthcare, and many more, including nation building programs based on innovative concepts. In recognition of all this, Dr. P.D. Patil Sir's invaluable contribution to the field of education and social activities, he has been bestowed with numerous awards. With great pleasure, let me call upon the most influential and visionary leader, Honorable Chancellor of DPU, Dr. P.D. Patil Sir, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Annu Alex. It is my great pleasure to welcome our eminent chief guest for today's induction program, Honorable Dr. Shashi Tharoor ji, Member of Parliament in Lok Sabha, former Minister of State for HRD and Minister of State for External Affairs in Government of India. An award-winning author, he is a man of distinct vision and a fountainhead of illuminating ideas, an idol of knowledge, experience, and a source of inspiration to all of us. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. N.J. Pawar Sir, Dr. Smita Jadhav, Executive Director, and Dr. Chetan Chaudhary, Director in Charge, GBSRC, Dr. Safia Farooqi, Director, Center for Online Learning, faculty members, staff, invited guests, and my dear students. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to today's induction program organized by Global Business School and Research Center and Center for Online Learning. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Tharoor ji for taking time off for his busy schedule to address us. And so we are especially grateful for that. Thank you for being here, sir. Dear students, today is about you. Congratulations on having made it for this and having been successful to realize your dreams. Today, we are all gathered here for one reason: to celebrate your dream. You have chosen the best institute under DPU to pursue your studies. Global Business School and Research Center has retained its strong general management foundation and is continuing to produce leaders who excel. COVID-19 pandemic has tested the roots of what is existing and raised the bar in opportunities, technology, education, raising a question mark on want and necessities. This is where the survival of the fittest plays an important role. We are dedicated towards crafting a brilliant future-based knowledge platform for our students. At the same time, we create humble professionals who can sustain tough times. We are considered among the best management institutes in Pune for a perfect blend of academicians and industry stalwarts, who pillars supports for sharing knowledge and trends in the industry. The Center of Online Learning has been established, keeping in mind the needs of the modern learning community, and at the same time, equipping them with the requisite knowledge and skill that are demanded by the industry. These online MBA programs help the students to explore their job opportunities while creating an edge over other graduates who compete with them in the placement arena. Here is your chance we mentioned by leading academicians and industry experts, and you can study in your own time, in your own pace, for anywhere across the globe. I welcome each one of you to our campus where latest technology, pioneering teaching methodologies, and quality education are blended together to create unique learning experience. It will help you to think critically, innovate successfully, and solve problems creatively. Dear students, you have chosen DPU expecting an education, but you will leave with so much more. During your stay here, strive to make a difference. I encourage you to be open to new ideas, experiences, and directions. As Rabindranath Tagore said, you can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. Moreover, be prepared for the unexpected. There will be storms in the ocean that is your life. You have to learn to surf as each wave comes. Learn to organize your time, keeping the right balance between academics and otherwise. Ground yourself in values that last, and above all, strive for excellence. Congratulations on the start of a journey that will transform your career and enhance your life. I wish you, all of you, a fulfilling and empowering journey ahead. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the hard work you have done and the hard work you are going to do. Nothing is more important than that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that incredible welcome address and inspiring all our joining batch. Moving ahead, I would like to warmly invite the most zestful and forward-looking figure, Honorable Trustee and Executive Director of DPU, Dr. Smita Jadhav Madam, to introduce the chief guest. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anupam. Respected Honorable Shashi Tharoor, sir, the symbol of knowledge, Member of Parliament, and a dynamic leader. Respected Dr. P.D. Patil, sir, our Chancellor and the architect behind the success of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth and Dr. D.Y. Patil Unitech Society. Pro-Chancellor Dr. Bhagyashree Patil, Madam, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. N.J. Pawar, sir, and erudite scholar and academician, Secretary Dr. Somnath Patil, sir, Treasurer Dr. Yashraj Patil, sir, Dr. Jairaj, sir, Advisor to the Chancellor, a knowledgeable man and a man of letters, our dynamic Chetan Chaudhary, sir, Director GPSRC, dynamic Dr. Safia Farooqui, ma'am, Director, Center for Online Learning, faculty members, staff, invited guests, and my dear students. Good afternoon. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome this August gathering. I take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of you and to your families for the hard work and many accomplishments that have brought you to this day. It is my privilege to welcome you to this amazing community. Dear students, you have come here with the intent to achieve in your life. And I can say that you have made the right choice in choosing our institute for pursuing your academic career. This is a dream institute of Dr. P.D. Patil, Chancellor, sir. To build this institute, a lot of planning and thought process has gone into it. And our Chancellor, sir, wanted only the best. If you know PD, sir, he's well known for his iron will and a never give up attitude. A man of ideals and goals, his mission has always been spread to literacy and make healthcare accessible for everyone. He believes that a country and society can progress only if there is growth in the socio-economic and ethical area. Dr. Patil, sir, has always been passionate about his life's mission, empowerment through knowledge. A steady and focused approach to his objective culminated in the establishment of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth Society and Dr. D.Y. Patil Unitech Society, Pimpri, Pune, which boasts of more than 30 institutes with more than 25,000 students. Dear students, as the days pass by and you settle yourself, you will develop critical analytical skills in assessing the current and developing environment for businesses, identifying new business opportunities and analyzing markets, dealing with complex issues systematically and creatively, and communicate clearly to a range of audiences. Each class is an assembly of individuals who bring their diverse backgrounds and unique experiences to case discussions. Here, you will learn as much from your classmates as you do from our world-class instructors, and then from you. You have chosen the best institute to pursue your academics. Today is your day, and everything I speak today is all about you. It is a new beginning for you, and you all have embarked on a new journey. I welcome you again to the most wonderful years of your life. If someone gave me the choice to go back in time, I will surely choose a college life. But I also hope that 10 years later as well, your eyes will shine the same way as they do today, that you will keep the spark alive, not only through college, but your entire life. Just remember, the world doesn't need you to know everything. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. The world just needs you to show up and give your best shot. So lead by example, share your experiences, and inspire others with your actions. And never hold your gifts. Before concluding my speech, I want to share with Laila Giftiakita. If you keep knocking, the door will eventually open. All the best. I would also like to introduce to our chief guest for today's program, Honorable Shashi Tharoor, sir. Shashi Tharoor, sir, has completed his BA, MA, and PhD. He was the youngest person at age 22 to receive a doctorate in the history of the Fletcher School. Dr. Shashi Tharoor, sir, a third-term member of Parliament for Thiruvananthapuram. He chairs the Parliament's Standing Committee in Information Technology. He is the best-selling author of 22 books, both fiction and non-fiction. Besides being a former Under-Secretary General of the United Nations, he was also a former Minister of State for Human Resource Development and for External Affairs in the Government of India. As an HRD minister, he took special interest in adult education, distance education, and enhancing quality of research. He has won numerous awards, some of them including are the Pravasi Bharatiya Sanman, a Commonwealth Writers' Prize, and the Crossword Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2019, Dr. Tharoor sir was also awarded the Sahitya Academy Award in the category of English non-fiction for his book, An Era of Darkness. He is an entrepreneur, always progressive, and is always striving, heading for the top. He is enterprising, ambitious, and determined personality to do things well, and has an unyielding dedication to his plan until the goals are achieved. He bounces back from his setbacks and can overcome any adversities or obstacles thrown in his way. Words are too short to introduce him. It is my privilege to welcome you, sir. Everyone is extremely eager to listen to you, Shashi Tharoor sir. Could you please address the gathering? Thank you.
My apologies, I was muted. Thank you very much, Trustee and Executive Director Dr. Smita Jadhav, for that very generous introduction. Chancellor P.D. Patil, Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. N.J. Pawar, distinguished faculty members and professors, my dear students and friends, I hope that covers everybody. It really is an honor for me to be invited to your inaugural ceremony, the inaugural ceremony of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth's 2021 to 23 MBA Induction Program, as your chief guest and to deliver a few remarks today. Of course, I should begin by congratulating the students on beginning their exciting journey. You should be instrumental in creating a generation of not mere managers, but leaders who will take India to its rightful place in the world. I personally come from an academic background devoid of any formal education in management theory. But given my, I suppose, now a little over 7 years of professional experience managing the largest department of the UN Secretariat, with over 800 staff in 77 offices around the world, a shrinking budget and political pressure to prune overheads, I sometimes feel that I earned a management degree on the job. Now, as many of you may be aware, the MBA was established in the US at the start of the 20th century, evolving from the accounting and bookkeeping courses introduced in a rapidly industrializing society. It was modeled on the standard American 2-year postgraduate academic program, and most students enroll straight after taking a first degree. In a booming US economy, this model won rapid acceptance. While the Wharton Business School started in 1881 as the world's first collegiate or undergraduate business school, the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth, founded in 1900, was the first graduate school of management. In 1921, the Harvard Business School became the first business school to offer a full-fledged Master's in Business Administration, or MBA degree. In India, as you may, the Indian Institute of Social Welfare and Business Management started in 1953 and 1961, followed by another in Ahmedabad. So 2021 is the 68th year of management education in India, in the wake of the golden jubilee of the IIMs a decade ago. The MBA, or postgraduate diploma in management, as the Indian students know it, has indeed evolved over the years. Skills imparted during the course and the academic rigor that it requires prepares students not just for the corner office or the corporate ladder, but for life itself. We've seen multiple business graduates who have ventured into unconventional careers, far from the reach of business or management. So I would say the primary aim of an MBA degree remains providing a better understanding of businesses across sectors, market mechanisms, or any modern economy, but it also equips you to do better at whatever you choose to do. I must say that India has increasingly become an entrepreneurship-driven economy. Indians abroad have already proved themselves in the number of startups they've helmed in places like Silicon Valley, but also through efforts in Africa and East Asia, which in many ways have gone to change the outlook of the world, while established multinational corporations have always relied on the leadership of our homegrown talent to take their products to the world. But more than the nitty-gritty of finance or marketing or human resources, an MBA education is about gaining exposure to the ethos of leadership. Today, the choices MBA graduates have for jobs are countless. I remember after my years at St. Stephen's in New Delhi, I cleared the written examination and the interviews for the only 2 IIMs in existence at that time in our country, securing the first and second rank at IIM Calcutta and IIM Ahmedabad, respectively. But I chose to go abroad for my further education. I wonder now how different my life would have been had I made the choice then to study in one of the IIMs. Yet the career choices made by management graduates in the 70s were made in a very different environment. Our economy was a closed, socialist, and a protectionist one, and international exposure was limited. Today, the world is smaller, opportunities are greater, and today's graduates have a wide variety of choices unknown to previous generations. India's economy has changed dramatically since the liberalization of 1991, and the diversity of our economy has allowed us to weather the largest economy by normal GDP, and having overtaken Japan, we're the 3rd largest economy by purchasing power parity, PPP. So I'm sorry. As I was saying, we have 640 million people below the age of 25. This means that for the next 40 years, we'd have a dynamic, productive workforce, while the rest of the world, including China, is aging. Bloomberg, analyzing UN data, predicts that India's labor force will be the world's largest by 2027, exceeding 1 billion people and comprising 18.6% of the global labor force, up from 18% in 2020, while China's is predicted to fall to 18.3% from 20.5% today, with its overall labor force declining by 21 million people. So we go up to 18.6%, they go down to 18.3%. And in these circumstances, the American labor force finds itself a distant 3rd in terms of the global proportion of labor. They will shrink, so will Russia, so will Japan, most European countries. The number of Indian workers aged 18 to 35 will continue to rise, even as it contracts in the US and China, according to research by Morgan Stanley, a bank that calls this age bracket the key demographic segment in India's population and labor force, 18 to 35. Harnessing this incredible potential will require a pool of highly educated and exceptionally motivated individuals to provide leadership across all sectors of the economy. And that's where those of you students joining the D.Y. Patil MBA program really come in. You are in that age group and you have the potential to be leaders. Now, with this reality in front of us, management education remains a significant weapon in our arsenal as we march towards greater economic growth. While we celebrate the IIMs, which have certainly single-handedly created a sort of distinctive brand Indian business education, our legacy has also been strengthened by other schools, such as the Xavier School of Management, the Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, the Faculty of Management Studies in Delhi University, and of course, today our own platform, the Global Business School and Research Center at the Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth. However, the reality is that the majority of our schools do not feature in the global rankings for top MBA schools. That we need to change. In the current economic climate, it's imperative that we now support our institutions while they look for solutions to the problems faced by India and the world at large. In our 74 years of independence as a nation, we've often found creative solutions to our big problems. I feel immense pride when I recall how the managerial skills of our citizens allowed us to overcome a disease as virulent as polio through our Pulse Polio campaign. And although our vaccination campaign against the present pandemic leaves much to be desired, we will no doubt overcome that too one day. While we establish research and development laboratories across the country, and we tackle challenges in diverse areas like housing, transportation, energy, healthcare, entertainment, telecommunications, financial services, clean water. All of these require quality management. And so the management education of our country becomes a critical factor. Now, what we must count on is our inherent creativity to overcome the challenges of the new century. This will need Indian business schools to understand the way India works, how our pulse beats. It's encouraging that case studies like the Dabbawalas of Mumbai or the toilet building of Sulabh International have been introduced in the curriculum of worldwide business schools, giving a taste to our students of how indigenous business practices work in our country. Relying on Indian ethics and practices will help us develop newer models of management. Today, as a nation, we're embracing the might of social media and transforming the way we look at life. In many ways, this is very important for us to appreciate, because changing our management techniques, looking at local solutions, marrying them with established academic principles, and creating solutions which are sustainable and they have impact not only locally but globally, that could be our special contribution in management education. The Indian principle of jugaad, of course, is becoming institutionalized, not as something one uses to twist your way around the system to get things done, but as a way to think out of the box, think creatively, and most important, bring non-traditional solutions to traditional issues. In fact, in 2011, I inaugurated the India Innovation Institute at the University of Toronto in Canada. A foreign university was studying Indian innovation. The buzzword then was Indovation, for innovations that are being developed in India. If you do a Google search for frugal innovation, the top 20 results all feature India. So we are capable of thinking out of the box. We just need to take the spirit farther in management education. The challenges and opportunities that corporations and industries pose for business leaders, nations and governments pose for politicians. Despite the different habitats inhabited by these two different species, managers and politicians, I would suggest that the temperament, the intellectual ability, and the qualities of endurance and patience that are required in a successful business leader are entirely the qualities of no self-respecting politician desiring recognition and seeking public office can do without. Owing to my earlier experience as a UN international civil servant and my current responsibilities as an MP, much of what I have to say to you about leadership today will be applicable to both business and politics in equal measure. Now, you've all heard endless times that a new age is upon us, a banal and trivial truism, if ever there was one, because new ages are always dawning upon the generations that live in them. The old order is always changing. and the fact is that the old always has to yield to the new, sometimes smoothly, sometimes in extremely disruptive and disorienting ways. So what makes this new age of our times so different from new ages of the past? I believe it's the speed with which it has come into being. In the last 30 years or so, beginning with the fall of communism in 1989, a paradigm shift has taken place in politics and business. And what characterizes the defining features of the shift, the challenges that leaders must deal with today? I see several things. The salient features are the spread of globalization, the spread of democracy and concern for the poor, increasing consciousness of universal ethical standards in both politics and business. And related to these three prominent structural features of the global system that managers need to cope with are the no less significant external stimuli, which are provided by the spread of technology and environmental degradation, something that all of us in India can't help but be conscious of. The first challenge for leaders, therefore, is, in my view, globalization. Now, more than ever, leaders must be able to grasp and balance the scales of a globalized world economy and society, and no manager can be indifferent to the global market. Globalization is complex, controversial, synergistic process in some ways, in which improvements in technology, especially in communications and transportation, combine with the deregulation of markets and open borders to bring about vastly expanded flows of people, money, goods, services, and information. This process integrates people, businesses, non-governmental organizations, and nations into larger networks. The good side, you could argue that globalization provides and promotes convergence, harmonization, efficiency, and growth. But globalization has a dark side too. It produces economic and social dislocations and arouses public concerns over job security, the distribution of economic gains, the impact of volatility on families, communities, nations are always winners and losers within nations and between nations. As modern day managers and leaders, we have to handle the thorns that come with the roses. You cannot be managers for the bottom line without any concern for those below that line at the bottom of the proverbial pyramid. Indeed, the distinguished Nobel laureate from India, Amartya Sen, famously said, "We cannot reverse the economic predicament of the poor across the world by withholding from them the great advantages of contemporary technology, the well-established efficiency of international trade and exchange, and the social as well as economic merits of living in an open society. Rather," he says, "the main issue is how to make good use of the remarkable benefits of economic intercourse and technological progress in a way that pays adequate attention to the interests of the deprived and the underdog. The question is not just whether the poor too gain something from globalization, whether they gain a fair share and get a fair opportunity." This is a very important question that I'd like you to think about, because the assets of the 200 richest people in the world are more than the combined income of 41% of the world's people. As leaders of a new age, we have a large imbalance to correct. Another important element of leadership in a new age that I would like to talk about is one that is often characterized by gray: ethics in business. The key difficulty surrounding business ethics is that ethics by definition goes beyond the merely legal. But how far beyond? Obviously, if you violate the law, that's often unethical too, but that's already illegal, so it's beyond debate. No institutionalized rules exist defining an upper limit for ethical practices. Even public opinion about ethics is subject to change. How do managers and leaders judge what is right and what is wrong? The philosopher Immanuel Kant, who sought to establish ethical rules on the firmest possible foundation, asked a simple question to judge the ethical principles. What if everyone did that? I think it's a very good question we can all ask ourselves. If we're ever tempted to do something that may be legal but may be unethical also, we should ask ourselves, what if everyone did what we're about to do? If we follow the simple logic, we'll have an eloquent compass in times of moral dilemmas. Indian politics has seen its fair share of scams and scandals in the recent past, and as a result, lost not just domestic but foreign investor confidence. Ethics in business and government has to be the anti-clogging device that cleans the system every now and then, lest it burst from the pressures of greed and corruption. So in a world mired with shaky deals and broken promises, I would ask the educators today and the students listening to me to find in themselves the will to stick to the right ethical path. As leaders of a new and maybe better era, inculcating the right values must be an important part of a relevant MBA education. Management education in India also faces a few intrinsic challenges. There is the idea of the triple bottom line, PPP, it said, not just profits, which is for many businesses the first P, but also planet and people. If you care not only for profits, but for the planet as well, and for people, then the triple bottom line will sustain you in business. Also, how should business schools try and reflect the better society we want to create? Well, business schools have to be more integrative of women. While men take to management education rather widely and easily, in India, female representation is not enough. I don't know what the figures are at the D.Y. Patil School, but it is often said that the greatest management techniques in traditional society can be learned from our Indian women in the way they steer their households on the limited income of their husbands. That is sexist today, but it suggests an innate expertise. Women are natural managers and leaders in our society, and a country like ours, where we were led by a woman prime minister as early as 1966, says a lot about our ability to recognize women in leadership roles. As such, we must devise new strategies to attract women to MBA courses and create leaders out of them. IIM Kashipur, for example, devised a brilliant method where they offered the families of potential women applicants a chance to travel to the campus and experience it for themselves with free round trips and hospitality. And this saw a 25% rise in the number of women students in the next batch. IIM Kozhikode in my state of Kerala has 53% women in its student population. All the other IIMs are between 20 and 30%. So these are important things we should aim at. And I would love to know later what your percentage is, but I think it's an important principle. Employability of graduates has also been a massive challenge. The quality and employability of the vast majority of our MBAs is sometimes questioned. I've spoken to CEOs who feel that once you get beyond the top institutions, the graduates they hire from the rest need a year's remedial education. Not on-the-job training, but often actual education to make up for the deficiencies of what they have not learned in college. This is particularly true in technological and engineering subjects, where Infosys has built a campus in Mysore and TCS in Thiruvananthapuram just to offer remedial education. Management techniques, of course, within companies start off by learning the culture of those companies, which you can't learn even in a good institution like D.Y. Patil, because here you learn much more from textbooks and theories and occasional apprenticeships and internships. But when you join a company, you have to work with them. And many companies mold people according to their requirements, which is something that you must all understand and be prepared for. The government, for its part, this goes back to the UPA days, have launched multi-pronged initiatives to address this gap. At one level, given the oversupply of persons with higher education, we find in India that overqualified persons are hired for jobs that don't require graduate degrees. And yet, on the other hand, industry regularly complains about the quality of people who are products of the higher education system. Now, with our management schools being established in off-the-map cities, which are giving rise to newer aspirations, I think it's important, and I understand why the government is looking to not only take management education to newer corners of the country, I mentioned Kashipur, for example, but also to make it more inclusive. And their argument is that the benefit of quality management education should reach the grassroots level. And, we're seeing that by online education, we could have delivered this lecture to students in any corner of the country as long as they have broadband. And as a cricket fan with a test match looming tomorrow, I could say that in management too, we can learn from the diversity of the Indian cricket team. Earlier teams in my childhood had players who may have been great, but they're from big cities, and the team as a whole was mediocre. Once the Indian team began to draw players from rural areas and mufusal towns, it benefited from a greater variety in representation and motivation and talent, strengthening its performance so much that now our expectation of our team is that it'll win most of the matches it plays. Similarly, management institutions must move to all corners of our country to find the next set of Indian managers. And I hope D.Y. Patil will recruit its MBA graduates from everywhere. That'll make the overall batch stronger, rather than having a few individual good managers from big cities, but overall a mediocre team. I've taken as much time as I was allotted, so let me conclude by also acknowledging that the students gathered here are commencing their journey towards becoming managers and leaders in exceptional circumstances. The COVID pandemic has spared no segment of our society or economy from significant disruptions. The challenges that impose upon our student community are immense, whether it's students struggling with the uncertainty of classes, of campus life, expensive online classes, those worrying about what return they will get for their degree when the world economy and India's own job market looks so bleak, or places where students are being forced to forego their access to a vibrant and dynamic physical campus space, and all the innumerable benefits of being able to meet and interact with their peers and professors in person, or even to follow and pursue extracurricular interests, which have now been replaced by a computer screen and a video conferencing platform. All of these make it adequately clear that the student community across the world is facing a complex, challenging, and uncertain future at this time. Since all of you have been confronted by this daunting reality, I don't want to rub it in, but you have obviously considered, evaluated all this, and you've gone ahead with your decision to proceed with this journey to secure an MBA degree at DY Patil Vidyapeeth. I wish to suggest that while these realities can often be frightening and discouraging, they are a challenge. And like every challenge, they present a unique leadership opportunity that young students like you must be willing to seize. You look at the world around you, there's no question that the benefits of instant communications and the digital revolution, the cultural aspects of increased cosmopolitanism and liberal thinking, all of these have gained many people's minds, gained ground, but are also being confronted by an inevitable backlash against. The truth is, I think that COVID-19 might inaugurate an era of deglobalization, with the world embracing isolationism and protectionism far more than prior to the outbreak. Even in India, we're hearing talk of Atmanirbharta. The pandemic seems to have confirmed for many that in times of crisis, we can only rely on the government to shield us, that supply chains globally are vulnerable to disruption and are therefore unsustainable, and that dependence on foreign countries for essential goods could be fatal. COVID-19 is something that dominates our lives and our thinking today. But as our society becomes in some ways more insular, stratified, and anti-global in the COVID context, there does arise a unique opportunity for students such as yourselves to rise to this challenge and to address the acute management and leadership deficiency we are facing. I believe the new world order will need a new set of leaders to bring us back together. Individuals who, though rooted in their immediate localities, are capable of displaying the necessary vision and aptitude to think beyond their immediate borders. Young people who can revive and champion the idea that we are, as a community, stronger when we are together. The new leaders that the world desperately needs will be individuals who are courageous enough to think beyond the immediate interests and the allure of the bottom line, and instead will work actively to identify the complex challenges faced by our society. And you, I hope, will produce innovative ways to successfully address those challenges. And at the same time, I hope that in an increasingly divided world, a divided country, you will work to bring us together again, because managers are the ones who are capable of helping those who've fallen under the categories of the marginalized, the discriminated, the financially vulnerable, and the socially chastised. These leaders, therefore, will not just be managers, but problem solvers and change makers. So I hope, to conclude, that during your next 2 years in this Vidyapeeth, you will develop a capacity for innovation, a willingness to work for the welfare of those around you, and the courage to offer a brand of management leadership that is anchored in empathy. Find answers to what provokes disaffection. Move beyond narrow concerns of the bottom line or of your paycheck to a larger world. Join hands with people in politics, in parliament, in civil society, in education to find solutions together, and we will create a better India and a better world. My heartiest congratulations to all incoming students, to the faculty and staff who will guide them as they begin this fascinating, challenging, and enriching journey. These are the true builders of a modern India. All the best and keep building. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for that elaborate and perfect picture of management education that you've given us for our students. I must say, as always, your ornate speech has captivated all the minds. And I'm sure each statement of yours would be treasured by our students for their lifetime. Thank you so much, sir, for your speech. There are some questions which our students would like to put forth. I humbly request, sir, you to take up some of them at least.
Go ahead.
Yeah. First, I would request Aishwarya Karya, who is MBA student of GBSRC, to go ahead with her first question. Aishwarya Karya.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Aishwarya Karya, and my question to you is, one of your quotes says that philosopher is a lover of wisdom and not of knowledge. So what exactly differentiates wisdom from knowledge, and how is one supposed to gain wisdom?
There's a joke that says that wisdom comes from experience and experience comes from lack of wisdom. So that what happens is that people make mistakes and they acquire their experience, and from the mistakes they learn and they become wise. That's the joke. But very seriously, knowledge is something we acquire from facts, from textbooks, from learning, from research, from teaching. All of that is knowledge. It's something which we know about things by studying about them. Wisdom comes not only from knowing things as facts or as figures or as processes that we have learned, but also knowing when to apply them, who is affected by the decisions we make, how do we respond to resistance, what will cause the resistance, how do we overcome the resistance. Wisdom sees a much larger context than knowledge. So if you take a subject like, let's say, the theory of human resources management, you can learn that in a textbook, perhaps in the course of your MBA in the next couple of years. But if you actually have to go out and be a human resources manager, dealing with human beings, understanding their motivations, their fears, their personal challenges, their political, psychological, and other pressures, all of these will give you a different kind of experience, broader than what knowledge alone will give you, and that eventually becomes your wisdom. So I would say to you that broader understanding is what is wisdom.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Next question, I would request Jhalak Chotai from DPU Distance Learning MBA Program. Jhalak, are you there?
Yeah, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Jhalak Chotai from Jamnagar, Gujarat. And I'm pursuing MBA from Center of Online Learning DPU. So having you here is a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious experience. So my question to you is, in a current situation, you know, when the jobs are at risk and due to the pandemic, there is so much uncertainty, and even, you know, what is your advice to the youngsters or the youth to keep them motivated?
Well, that's what I tried to do, Jhalak. I actually talked about the pandemic and gave you all some advice. You don't want me to repeat myself. So what I would urge you to do is to try and look up the recording of my talk towards the end when I talk specifically about this question. One simple motto is never give up, because the truth is that there can always be problems and challenges. And this is a very big problem, the pandemic. It's limited us in so many ways. It's hurt the economy. It's hurt employment. It's hurt all your prospects. And I know that's not easy for you to live with. But I would still say to you, never give up, because things will change. Maybe it will even change by the time you graduate in 2 years' time. And you may come back to a world that is again picking up gears and picking up energy. But I would say one more thing, which is that those economies which have already been able to bust through, China is the best example, but even the US to some degree, have demonstrated that with the right kind of governmental will and policy making, investment from the government, and at the same time enlightened support for business, that the economy can pick up very quickly. And you may actually have surfeit of options by the time you graduate. Even though today it looks very bleak, I think that that's what you can hope for. So stay motivated, because my simple message to you is bad times always pass.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so do good times also pass. But
Yeah.
this time, I think we're in a bad time, and that is going to move on forward.
Definitely. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Next we have is Pratik Kadam, MBA student from GBSRC. Pratik, please go ahead.
Anu, while we're waiting for Pratik, what is the percentage of women in your incoming batch? I'm glad both the first two questions came from ladies.
We've outnumbered women in our present batch for MBA.
So more than 50% are women?
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. That's a good sign for the future. Well done.
So we'll go ahead with Nachiket Ganjali from DPU Distance Learning.
Yes, hi, sir. This is Nachiket Ganjali from Pune. I'm currently pursuing my MBA in Human Resource Management. As you just mentioned a couple of seconds ago, that the competition between India and China is relevant, but the thing is that we are often tagged as becoming the next China, or we should try to become the next China. So my question is, how can we avoid being the next China and be the first India and set up a very unique example for the world?
Excellent question, Nachiket, and I agree with you. That's a phrase I myself like to use. We don't need to be the second China, and we don't need to actually compete with them. I start off with the premise that there's enough in the world for both China and India, and therefore it's not a race. It's not a zero-sum where somebody's going to get the gold medal and somebody's going to get the silver. We are actually fighting for decent lives for our people, for ensuring that every Indian has 3 square meals a day, a roof over his head, the possibility of better prospects for his work, the better prospects for his children or her children. We're also looking at an India where ultimately we need to focus on both the hardware of development and the software of development. The hardware is the ports, the airports, the railways, and so on, which I'm glad to say your fellow Punekar, Mr. Gadkari, is focusing on. Although actually he's more from Nagpur, isn't he? But anyway, and then we also need to focus on the software of development, education, sanitation, healthcare, where frankly we are faltering a little bit. But when we do all this, we're not competing with anyone, we're competing with ourselves. We want to be better next year than we were this year, and better this year than we were last year. That's the only competition. So let's forget about how we are vis-a-vis China. I only mention those numbers about China, Japan, South Korea, and so on for perspective. That look, China has been the engine of the world for 35 years, or literally 31 years since 1980, when they really, 41 years, I beg your pardon. During that time, they had the population, they had all of that, and now we have overtaken them in that regard. We have the labor force, we have the young managerial talent, we have the right age group, 18 to 35, where we'll be the #1 category in the world. So given all of this, the question for us is, can we do as well for our people as China did for its people? Not can we do better than China. I don't give a fig whether we do better than China or not. Let the Chinese be happy with themselves in their own way, but let us create a better India for India.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Can we have Devankush Pagrut from MBA GBSRC? Devankush, you would like to ask the question?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Devankush.
So my question to you is, the love for serious reading is decreasing day by day due to engagement in other alternate media. So what is your advice for the youth regarding reading?
I always tell young people that there is really no substitute for it. Now, one qualification I should immediately put in is that I do realize that when you're on your screen staring at your tablet or your mobile phone, you're also reading. So it's not that you have given up reading, but to take your own question, Devankush, you said serious reading. And serious reading is difficult to do on a screen because serious reading demands attention, demands length. Serious treatment of any subject cannot be done in a 280-character tweet. It cannot be done in a short article. I do a lot of writing, as you know myself, and even on the web, where you would think that space is not a consideration. In the early days, when I used to write for print newspapers and magazines only, editor would often come back and say, we need you to cut 20 words because we can't fit it into the page. There is no such concern on the net. You can have those 20 words and more. And yet, because of people's attention span concerns, even online editors will tell you, please don't have more than 1,000 words or more than 1,200 words for an article. All that's fine. You can make a short, focused argument, but you can't really do what you can do in a book. And that's why I continue writing books. My last book clocked in at over 400 pages, and the print was not that big. So the truth is that I know for many people, they will not read it, even though I feel I'm making some very important points in this book, The Battle of Belonging, about nationalism, patriotism, about the future of our country, the identity of India, the Indian idea, all of that, which I believe matter to the lives of many Indians, and particularly of thinking Indians. And yet I know that even the books that are bought, some of them will remain unread and sit on shelves, but people pick up 400 pages, they quickly put it back again saying, when am I going to find the time? And you're right also, there are multiple media options. You've got your screens, you've got your video games, you've got your computers, you've got television, of course, with multiple channels and all the OTT platforms offering you entertainment. But you know, when you watch a film, you are actually engaging as a passive recipient of what the filmmaker has imagined, devised, enacted, and put before you. Whereas when you are actually reading a book, you are engaging, you're stimulating your own brain cells. You have to use your imagination to try and see the scene that is being created by the writer. You have to imagine the individuals, the characters peopling it. You have to imagine and think through the arguments being made. I'm covering both fiction and non-fiction arguments. And to do all of that, reading becomes an interactive process between you and the printed word in a very different way from the interaction you have with the video game. So my warmest advice to all of you is don't give up. I'm going to give you a very unambitious target. Read one book a month that has nothing to do with your coursework, that is not required in your syllabus, is not even additional recommended reading. All of that is still for an academic purpose. Read one book for pleasure. Because I think what's something that has gone out with your generation, Devankush, unfortunately, I've talked to many young people and I feel that for them, reading is something they have to do for school or college. It is not something to do for pleasure. For pleasure, they go and sit in front of a TV or a computer screen. And that, I think, is the tragedy. That's the loss. If they would read for pleasure, one book a month, even if they're only reading 5 pages a day, they'll probably get a book done because sometimes that book will be interesting enough that they'll read 10 or 15 or 20 pages that day and they'll get to the end of the book in a month. My honest view is it offers you, once you finish that book, you realize you've gained something that you could not have gained from looking at a screen. So please don't give up on reading. Apply yourselves, and it'll become not only easier with the passage of each month, it'll actually become a habit you won't want to shake.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I request Shraddha Kadam, GBSRC, to please come ahead with her last question.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Shraddha Kadam. Hope you're doing well. Sir, after the horrific situation in Afghanistan, everybody thinks that UN must have taken some steps to prevent it. You were a part of UN as well. So what is your take on this?
You know, it's a very tough one because I have to say that I personally am a bit disappointed with the UN Security Council's very anodyne sort of statement. And that too, it was to the press. It was not an agreed resolution or anything. You're calling for a ceasefire, negotiations on the future of the country, calling for a new government that is united, inclusive and representative, including with the full, equal and meaningful participation of women, says the resolution. Who's going to ensure all of that? The Taliban have won. You're passing a bunch of words and giving it to the press in New York will not change anything. What, in my view, we need from the UN Security Council is clear action. And there is, you know, a UN assistance mission in Afghanistan. I don't know if you're aware of this. There's staff in Kabul, in offices across the country. And I think that what you should do is pass through discussions in the Security Council a new and expanded mandate for this UN assistance mission. One of the mandates could be to establish humanitarian corridors across Afghanistan to help evacuate those who can't go out by air. Don't forget, for example, that the Taliban has said the airport must shut down by the 31st of August. In that case, how will people leave? The UN might be able to be given the assurance of taking people out. Then there is the question of on-the-ground human rights monitoring. Who's going to do that? The UN, again, is a more reputed institution for monitoring human rights than any individual government. A human rights report by Pakistan will have no credibility. But a human rights report by the US may also have less credibility because they have a political axe to grind. The UN would have some real impact and would help keep a spotlight on the Taliban as to how they are living up to their public commitments. They promise they will give an amnesty to anybody. They will not take revenge on people. They will not oppress women again. Well, let's see that. Let's see it happen. Let's have some women human rights officers from other countries as UN observers, right? There's also humanitarian needs. I think we must have an expanded humanitarian mission, no question about that. And to my mind, there's no question in my mind that the humanitarian needs are still very much there. Many Afghans have been displaced in the fighting. They've lost their homes. They've lost their sources of support. Many NGOs that were working for the Afghan people have been forced to shut down or flee. And there's very little money available to the UN. So again, a redoubled humanitarian mission would be my third point. And then as far as the question of politics and so on is concerned, the UN Security Council can always try and discuss a peacekeeping operation. But in practice, I can tell you that a peacekeeping operation only makes sense if all sides agree. In other words, if the Taliban don't want foreign peacekeepers, there's no point sending them. There'll be a waste of time. They won't be able to. So the three things I've suggested are all civilian efforts. But it can be done if you have some cooperation with Taliban. If the Taliban says to the UN, you buzz off, we don't need you, and we won't give you visas to be here, honestly, there's nothing the world can do. Because the US and its NATO allies have demonstrated very clearly that they don't have the stomach to impose their will. So honestly, I think for the UN to pass pious resolutions means absolutely nothing. Let's do what we can in terms of humanitarian action, humanitarian monitoring, getting refugees and evacuees out of the country. Those are things the UN could do. Are they planning to do it? There's absolutely no clue, because we have not seen anything more coming out of the Security Council than one pious press statement. Okay, thank you all very much. I'd like to apologize for leaving you, but I have spent a little more than an hour with all of you. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We're patiently answering all the questions. Thank you. We're almost at the end of the inaugural session, and it's time to thank all our eminent guests. May I invite upon Director GPSRC, Dr. Chetan Chaudhary, sir, to purport vote of thanks and draw curtain to today's blessed session. Over to you, sir.
Professor Alex, it's my pleasure and privilege to propose the vote of thanks for such a wonderful inaugural function, of which the chief guest is most inspiring speaker of the country, Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress, and working together is success. This famous quote of Henry Ford and Edward is felt so relevant even today. Students from different parts of the country are together here, and this beginning becomes so meaningful as they got the flag off from none other than Dr. Shashi Tharoor. I, Dr. Chaudhary, Dean Faculty of Management, on behalf of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth, GPSRC, and Center for Online Learning, thanks Dr. Shashi Tharoor for accepting our invitation in spite of his busy schedule and joining us as a chief guest today. Sir, thank you very much for the inspiration you gave, the confidence you felt, and the direction you showed, not only to the students, but everyone who heard you today. I am happy to share with you that we have 50% girls for our existing and current batch of MBA, which represent the gender equality at large. Sir, I'm sure your advice to our students about being instrumental in generating innovations is well noted, and I'm sure that many of our students will make it possible to deliver the innovation at large. Thank you, sir. I'm thankful to our beloved Chancellor, Dr. P.D. Patil, sir, for his motivation and constant encouragement for value addition and knowledge enrichment. I thank you, sir, for gracing this function and addressing the new batch of MBA students on the very first day of their journey with you. I am thankful to Pro-Chancellor Dr. Bhagyashree Patil, ma'am. We are grateful to you, ma'am, for always being with us for setting and achieving new heights of excellence. I thank our Vice Chancellor Dr. N.J. Pawar, sir, for his guidance and directions in every attempt towards enhancement of the quality. Thank you, sir, for introducing our university and sharing all the milestones achieved by our university so far. This kind of inaugural programs cannot happen overnight. The wheels started moving about a month ago. It requires precise planning and bird's eye process. We have been fortunate to be supported by our Dr. Smita Jadhav, Trustee and Executive Director, whose constant efforts and guidance has made it possible to such a wonderful and promising start to our newly admitted batch of MBA. Thank you, ma'am. I like to express my sincere thanks to our trustees, Dr. Somnath Patil, sir, and Dr. Yashraj Patil, sir, for extending their guidance and support. I am thankful to Dr. Suryakar, Dr. Jairaj, Dr. Vatsala Swami, Dr. Kiran, Dr. Narendra Kaur, and Dr. Satya, and all Dean Directors of all constituent units of Dr. Patil Vidyapeeth. I also extend my thanks to all media partners and representatives over here. Last but not least, big thanks to all parents and students, without whom this inaugural would not have been great success. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Have a great day.